I hate myself. That is a reaction of a client of mine and what they actually thought regularly when they were criticizing their inner voice, and they were suicidal at the time. Thankfully, we worked through it and things went well after that. They're alive and well and kicking. And that's what I want you to be with regard to this video. We'll look at how to be nice to yourself and your inner voice, just to put it to one side. One way of doing that is to recognize and acknowledge that if you start by becoming aware of your inner voice in the first place, that's actually there. Acknowledge it and recognize that it's part of you. It's there for a reason, but it doesn't define your entire identity. And that reason, by the way, doesn't have to be a negative one. Just because we have an inner voice that's nagging away and just knocking away, it doesn't mean to say that that's trying to just pull us back from everything. Rather, the inner voice is there to give us safety. It's so simple. Safety is the thing that it's there for. That's why we cannot be critical of it. We need to recognize it and acknowledge it. It's almost like when you have to park up a boat in the water, you have to put down an anchor, right? It's there for safety. So with that, like a lock on a door, it's there for safety. You don't want to get rid of it. You want to recognize and acknowledge it, but build from there. The safety can then, of course, mean that after that, you can be very, very positive in life. Another thing to do with it is to externalize the voice of it, right? Give your critical inner voice an external persona or name, separate it from what you are doing. Distract yourself from this inner voice and say, yeah, okay, I acknowledge that. I recognize those criticisms, those possibilities. Then go, hey, look, that's coming from a safety point of view. And then you can say, right, I still want to do this. I want to be daring. I want to chance something. I want to go out and create an opportunity for myself in life. That's my brakes over here, but I want to, go ahead with that. I kept my inner voice in mind by acknowledging it, but now I'm externalizing the voice by giving myself a separate persona. And this can help you distance yourself from this inner voice so that you can actually take the brakes off, unlock the door so that you can take the anchor and just go and flow away from this trappings of the inner voice. Always, though, acknowledge yourself that when this is happening or when you're putting this into place, that do question its validity, the inner voice that is. So take from the point of view of the safety, right? Like whenever the critical voice speaks up, ask yourself if what it's saying is really true. Okay, so you can rationalize it, be objective towards it. A lot of what we can do with our inner voice is just pull ourselves aside and not exactly try to look at it away from us, but just look at the words that are coming up with regard to what the inner voice is saying and the tone of what's being said as well. It's a safety anchor. It's a lock. It's a feature that's there for you. That's not going to go away, by the way, but you can be reasonable with this. So question its validity so that you can use it to help you. And it can be in the back of your mind as you go forward and try to progress and do things that you truly want to do. And rather than having that conflict of the inner voice dragging you down once you're trying to actually go ahead and it's pulling and pushing, it's push and pull and all of these things, rather than that, question the validity. And you'll finally see in many instances that the validity, it's not valid in many ways. It's just overly safe, overly cautious. And so you can release yourself of the trappings of it in many instances, but it will be there each time you try to progress and do different things. Try to practice self-compassion because it will be there. So therefore you have to acknowledge it and you have to kind of go, well, all right, you're not going to go anywhere, so I may as well be happy with you, right? It's there for a reason. If the worst choice was made by you in your life, don't ever say the inner voice didn't say, hang on a second, do not do this. This is the worst decision you can make in your life. If you do this, everything will end. If you do this, everything will go bad. And it's a permanent state of badness and ending. So therefore, I'm the inner voice. Listen to me. So by practicing self-compassion for that potential worst case scenario, Most of the time, the inner voice, you can reason with it, you can question validity, and you can practice the self-compassion. Think of patting it and going, okay, I understand what you're saying. I'm patient with you. I can step away from it for a second or for a little while. I can analyze it. But all the while you're treating yourself, because your inner voice is your inner voice, you're treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would do an offer to a friend. So welcome it. Know that it will be there, and then that it won't pull you back. Positive affirmations. These counteract negative self-talk. And when I speak about this, am I going off now to talk about negative self-talk most exclusively away from the inner voice? No, I'm not. But the inner voice, if we continually listen to perhaps we call it safety of the inner voice, then what can happen is that we don't take action. We don't do certain things. We don't progress. We look back and we regret things. We say, oh, if only I did that. It was so simple to do. I look at it now. Everyone else did it. Why didn't I do it? And now I regret things. Rather than doing that, that's allowing the inner voice spiral out of control. If you can check it, do all of the things we've spoken about already, and support it with positive affirmations, because there will potentially be a lot of negativity coming out of that inner voice. So if you can cushion it around with positive affirmations, then you're creating a list of good things that you can react to the inner voice, even when it will continuously come up and rear its head in the future. When you get into scary situations, when you get into situations that could potentially be damaging to you. So if you have this list of positive affirmations created specific to the situation, specific to your feelings and the way you react to things, well, then you're cushioning it and you're allowing yourself to progress when that inner voice comes along, despite it being there in the first place. Focus on progress as well. Instead of trying to aim for perfection, just think of, can I go forward a little bit more? Think of a very controlling or very caring parent. Control and care can be together if they're very protective. Maybe you're a parent yourself and you want to protect. That's normal and natural, right? But the minute as a child that you can kind of get away from the clutches of all of that and get a little bit of independence, you feel great. You haven't upset the parent. They're still caring. You don't want them to feel very bad about things, but you feel you've got a little bit of independence, which therefore gives you this feeling of progress. In other words, maybe they told you not to go away from the house for more than an hour. You got an hour and 5 minutes. That extra 5 minutes probably is a feeling of great independence, more so than the first hour, because you've slightly bent the rules. You've slightly decided to just go off your own intuition, and it has worked. And that's progress. So little mini bits of progress are going to be not just progressive, but beneficial. And it means that, hey, inner voice, you're over there. I am in control of my actions here as well. Mindfulness and meditation will also help you, because if you practice mindfulness and meditation, it creates this distance from your thoughts. I mentioned the analogy of cushioning around the inner voice. This is definitely what this does as well. It creates a kind of bubble as such around the inner voice, so that if you think of transparent bubble, you can look at things through and you can look at the inner voice, but it can't get to you because there's that bubble in between. So it gives you that space, that gap, that freedom. And by practicing meditation, the beautiful thing is it continues to evolve. It continues to make you even clearer. And when things are thrown at you externally, the inner voice goes, oh no, here's how you need to react. Be safe. Do this. Cautious, negative. You can come from the point of view of having this huge bubble, transparent bubble where you can look through, see the inner voice and go, okay, take what you're saying, but it's not going to disrupt my plans, because I'm still going to go ahead and do this or make a situation better in doing things differently and so on. Lastly, cultivate gratitude. Have gratitude around the inner voice and say, thank you for being here. Same as having a friend. This is the most knowledgeable, wise friend you will ever have. It's there for you to say, at one stage, I will be correct. That's what the inner voice is saying. I will be correct. And because we all will die, so the inner voice will eventually get to you in that way. And you have to go, well, okay, you're right. Hands down, you won the game of cards, and that's it. But there's a hell of a lot of years in between where you can enjoy yourself, where you can take opportunities, you can make opportunities, you can take action, you can go out there and meet people, you can do things you know you can do. And that's what life is all about. I wish you well. I thank you for watching the video. And if you wish to subscribe, we'll pop out another video or two, perhaps. And for sure, we'll try and help in whatever way we can. If you've enjoyed this video, you know where the button is. If not, well, my inner voice says it's A-okay for today. So have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching.